some resolutions here.
Nice.
It was awesome. It was good. I'm tired. Man, chasing around kids. But it was good. I would do it again.
So
Because basically it's super crazy.
Yeah.
this ordinance, is this something they passed?
Yes, this would be to stagger the elections.
And they can do that tonight.
You could suspend the rules.
We could vote on it by suspending the rules. What do you want to do Sunday? Before appointment of town council, town council.
I guess so. Oh yeah.
So this will be really in 4 years. There's no statutory authority for someone to do something. So in 2027, whoever is elected will lose 2 seats. Their terms are have 1 year, 3 years.
That's what we
Next year,
Yeah, that's what that was the initial plan. We'll fit that in right after the pledge and before the election. Oh, that clears up. That clears up and that's what we want to do is want to have a staggered election.
Yeah. I think it will be ordinance 13.
2023-13. Both of them.
No, the resolution is 10.
The resolution will be 10. And this ordinance number will be 13.
Yep.
Dolores and John show up.
Joyce.
Joyce and John. Kind of scary, man.
Are you kidding?
That can do her than that. You guys had me worried. I thought, oh my goodness.
That's what I told her. I said that.
Yeah, he was. These are people.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this one right after.
Okay.
That's nice. This takes care of that.
Does it allow it or? Oh, okay. I see.
yeah.
You won't have to worry about me getting worded in this and not just get through it. It's gonna be
Cows are out. Okay. Well, my glasses is in my
I'll
purse.
call the meeting to order of the Westport Town Council, December 11th, 2023 meeting, and we will have a pledge allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I gotta get my glasses. I got the
All
wrong.
right, we've got kind of a lengthy agenda, so I'll try to move through it as quickly as possible. Oh. And first up is resolution number 2023-10.
You need the ordinance. You needed the ordinance.
I need to read the ordinance?
Yeah.
Oops, sorry, I'm backwards. Ordinance 2023-13, ordinance regarding the election of town council members. Whereas the town of Westport, Indiana town is a duly formed municipal corporation within the state of Indiana governed by its duly elected legislative body known as the town council. Whereas the town has the power and authority to regulate within state statutory limits the election of its own legislative body. Whereas there currently exists no chapter in the town municipal code regarding the election and requirement of town council members and resulting in the election of all of the at-large members every 4 years. Whereas on November the 13th, 2023, the town council adopted ordinance 2023-5 pursuant to Indiana Code 36-5-2-4.2, increasing the number of the members of the town council from 3 to 5 members effective January 1st, 2024. And whereas the town council desires to stagger the terms for town council members. Now therefore be it resolved, be it ordained by the town council of Westport, Indiana as follows. Election, section 1, election of members of town council. The town council has 5 members effective January the 1st, 2024. The members of the town council shall be elected at large by the voters of the entire town. The municipal election shall be held in the town in November of 2027, at which time the 2 seats created January the 1st, 2024, shall be elected for a term of 3 years, beginning at noon on January the 1st, following said municipal election. The remainder of the members will be elected for terms of 4 years, beginning at noon on January the 1st, following said municipal election. Thereafter, each term for all seats shall be for a period of 4 years. Adopted by the town council of the town of Westport, Indiana, this 11th day of December 2023.
I'd make a motion.
I will, what we need to do, I will make a motion or entertain a motion, we suspend the rules on first reading.
I second it.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. We have voting sheets here for the members.
We still got one more.
We still got one more.
Okay.
You have to vote before you do that one, Harry. Because once you have determined who the new members are, you will list them on the second page.
We gotta do the election first, and then.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the appointment of 2 town council members.
You can read the names of who's applied. Do we need to read the names of who's applied for this?
Yes. We are going to select 2 members from the following, from the following list below. Sandy Lowe, Mike May, Dolores Honeycutt, Melissa Deppie, and Jennifer Wood. Vote. Do what?
I think that you misunderstood what he said, but
That'll come
When
up
you
in
were
the
reading
upcoming
it.
election. That will come up in the next election when the terms start to be an alternating term. In 2027, correct, yes.
That's when it starts a staggered election. Why is it staggered election?
But because
We
it
have to
starts
have-
January 1st, 2024, that's why.
Right.
we have to have,
That's just the way that the rules are.
That's the way Indiana statutes are.
it's okay.
I mean, the thing is, you can sign that one.
Yes.
The thing is that we look at the laws, the statutes of the state of Indiana, and we're following under those statutes. And what we tried to do initially, and it was talked about earlier this year and some last year, staggering the election so that always there'll be somebody on the town council who has knowledge of what's going on, and you don't wipe out the town council and start from scratch where nobody knows anything.
That's not what he's asking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He's asking why we're doing this now, but we're doing this now so that we'll have these.
His concern is
people-
why there's an appointment, not a vote.
Right.
Hey, could you come up here so my ears are no good.
I just question whether having to do it tonight instead of having to do the election, go back to the ordinance. That's one other councilman.
Oh, okay. Because by Indiana state law, we can either do it or pass it down to the next town council to do when you expand.
Needs to be done by January 1st,
It needs to
2020.
be done by January 1st.
Yes.
Who said the town council doesn't make a lot of news in the town? Is that who we're living now? Only two members are talking about not doing the election.
When you're referring, if you're referring to the ordinance he just read, that happens in 2027, in the next voting cycle.
Then everybody in town votes for those.
But Bill, when we looked at how to do it under Indiana state law, this is the way you do it.
It comes with Indiana Code 365242, provides that the legislative body that we have now may adopt a resolution to submit a public question for the number of body members. That we did. And it also says that this board can put 2 people in there. And then if you guys decide you don't want them there, you're the ones that can vote them out then.
It says you can, it doesn't say you have to. So you make a choice. You go ahead and do it now.
Yes, sir, we did, because our lawyer told us to do
It's
that.
not the law saying to do it, it's your choice to do it now.
No, there's a ballot
Alex, if-
question in,
Harry, Alex, if you can help clear this
Yeah,
up, but it
Alex.
needs to be appointed by January 1st, and are we correct?
That's, within discretion of the council. In other words, the town council has to fill the vacancy. And that's the discretion of town council, whether to fill it for January 1st or the
did you understand that, Bill?
That means 2 out of 5 members of the town council, not less than 5 members of the town.
It wouldn't be either way. It would not be either way.
There's no more
It's an
elections.
appointment. It's an appointment regardless of how you look at it. It is not a vote, it's an appointment.
You can call an election to do that.
No,
You just did that for the other 3.
you remember when Mr. Smith passed away? Okay, someone elected another person to fill his spot. Remember that? That's the way it works here anyway. I mean, when the election comes again, then the whole town will vote for who's still in there. Because we've already done it, because that's what our lawyer advised for us to do. No, you know what? We really don't have to fight with any of you. We're going to put two people in, and if you guys don't like them, then you're the ones that can tell them to leave, okay? I mean, that's just the way it is. We've already done it, and you can question it all you want to, but please look at the rules before you start giving all of us a rash, okay? Thank you.
Harry, your two candidates is Dolores Honeycutt and Jennifer Ribb.
Jennifer Ribb and
Dolores.
Dolores. The two people have been appointed to the town council. All right, resolution 2023-10. Resolution, whereas the town of Westport, Indiana is a duly formed municipal corporation within the state of Indiana, governed by its duly elected legislative body. Whereas Indiana Code 36-5-2-4.2 provides that the legislative body may adopt a resolution to submit a public question on the number of legislative body members to the voters of the town. Whereas on June 12th, 2023, the town council adopted resolution number 2023-9 to submit to the voters of the town a public question concerning increasing the number of members on the town council from 3 to 5. Whereas on November the 7th, 2023, the general election results confirmed that a majority of the voters answered in the affirmative to the public question increasing the number of members of the town council from 3 to 5. Whereas Indiana Code 36-5-2-4.2 states that in pertinent part that if the majority of votes cast on the question are in the affirmative, the legislative body shall adopt an ordinance at its next regular meeting following the election, altering the number of legislative body members to the numbers specified in the public question. An ordinance adopted under this subsection becomes effective January 1st following its adoption. Whereas pursuant to Indiana Code 36-5-2-4.2, the town council shall adopt an ordinance increasing the number of members on the town council from 3 to 5 members at its next regular meeting on November the 13th, 2023. Whereas on November the 13th, 2023, the town council adopted ordinance 2023-5 pursuant to Indiana Code 36-5-2-4, increasing the number of members of the town council from 3 to 5 members effective January 1st, 2024. Whereas Indiana Code 36-5-2-4F states in pertinent part that the legislative body may fill the vacancy before the ordinance described in subsection E takes effect. Whereas the town council desires to fill the vacancies before ordinance 2023-5 takes effect on January the 1st, 2024 by appointing members to the two council positions. Now therefore be resolved by the town council of the town of Westport, Indiana, in accordance with the provisions of Indiana Code 36-5-2-4.2F as follows. The members are hereby appointed to the town council. Do I have a motion on the floor that we suspend the rules on second reading?
Yes.
You don't have to.
We don't have to.
Oh, we don't have to on this? Okay. All in favor,
Make a motion.
make a motion on the floor, we accept this. Huh?
I think I might have just misunderstood what you read. So your ordinance that you read said that we're gonna let the people in the town vote on whether it's 23 or 25.
And they did.
And they did.
And they did. Then after that, you made an ordinance saying that you're going up 20, January 1st. So what we voted on November 7th was just we were gonna increase. After that, the ordinance states you're going to appoint them January 1st.
Because that's under the Indiana codes I just read allows us to do that. And this was all researched and everything before we come up with these resolutions.
On November 13th, not before everybody votes.
Yes.
Yeah, you talked with
So
the attorney
everybody
back in August.
voted.
Yeah. Well, wait a minute, this has been an ongoing discussion
Yeah.
way back in the spring of this year.
Yeah, so the ordinance that you just approved is dated November 13th after.
That's for the staggering. It wasn't for the for the election of the
I
people.
thought it was read on January 1st.
The appointments take effect January 1st, that's true.
But what we voted on didn't say January 1st.
No, what you voted on was to expand the town council from 3 to 5. And once that you voted on that, or the people voted for it, then the next chain of events start happening, and we've got to adopt these ordinances that go along with
So
it.
I'm going to make a statement, I mean, what I'm saying is true. So the citizens of Westport got to vote November 7th, that we were going to increase 5.
Yes, that's correct.
And then you decided with the ordinance November 13th that you were going to appoint them January 1st, and that's what we're doing.
Yes, that's right.
No, go ahead, Laura.
When they did the ordinance back in July or August, I can't remember, did it state then it was effective as of January 1st? Because that talked all about putting the question on the ballot and going to a 5-member term and all of that.
Yeah, so that was a resolution number 2020. And that was just to submit a public question on the ballots. Here, in November, statute did require the town council to pass orders to the next town council meeting.
Right, which we did.
That increases the statute requires the term of that, vacancies, vacant positions to begin by
The town people can't vote on that. It's just the council that votes on who they put in there until it votes again. And- Right.
Did you understand what he's saying?
Basically, he's saying that what we voted on in November 7th didn't have a date. The date you put on the November 13th.
The question that was sent out was whether to increase the board from 3 to 5. Correct.
So November 7th, that was the whole date. That's how I remember. Okay.
That's true. Then we have to, once that resolution is passed, and we've got to move quickly for the steps. Make sure that we get that done starting January 1st.
Here's,
Alex,
It's been done.
and you can answer her question.
How should it have been? There's
During
actually
election.
a possibility if it was handled differently. Okay. I think the majority of people understand, whether it's right or wrong, I think that they thought that when we reached 5, that down the road, there was going to be an election.
there will
and the
be.
town was going to vote. Now, that's, I think, what it was, that wasn't what happened. Was there a way that if it was been done differently, that it could have been handled like that?
No, and the way that the statute is that question in totality is like a coding blank. There's really no way to define it. It literally provides a language and it says from, and then insert the code number members to, and then insert the number of members. Question mark, and then put, inclusive quotation. So there's no really convey information about the purpose of, not registering. That question is conveyed that way. So you just use that as that same number. In the resolution, and that's how it's treated. stated this begins on,
Yes.
begins on such and such. We don't have any ability to modify that.
So there wouldn't have been a way to say, I'm just gonna make something up. Do you want to increase the town council from 3 to 5 members? We will elect 2 November 2024 that will run for 1 year, and then in 2025, it's a 4-year term. Oh, you
I
know,
see the question. Yeah, no, so the way that the statute's written, so it's under E, it says, you know, if it's increased, then the town council shall have an ordinance. And then under section F, it spells out how those appointments are conducted. So it says that the town council, the legislative body has to do it. It has to be this legislative body, and then it sets forth that the council may appoint those members before the ordinance. The term has to be in the following that increase. There's no way to delay that until the number 3 years until.
I wasn't thinking 4 years, I was thinking delay it 2 years. You know, and so, because that's what I thought the whole purpose was. We had 3 elected, then 2 years later, we would elect 2, and 2 years later, we would elect 3. then-
Correct, and that's what the first ordinance that he read does. It sets all that in motion. We were under the belief that even if appointments were made, that they would go only 2 years and then an election. We were incorrect on that.
I think that
And
what
Alex
the,
brought that about to us at the last meeting when we
Right.
discussed it.
and I
So
think
that's why
that-
this ordinance stipulates that it will stagger the elections coming up 2027 and going on from there, so that we do have exactly what you're saying, 2, 3, 2, 3.
The 3 people that were elected and the 2 people that were just appointed, they're going to be town council members for 4 years.
Right.
Then in that election, in 4 years, we will vote for 3 town council members for a 4-year term and 2 town council members for a 2-year term. 3, okay, so
Yeah.
instead of being like every 2 years, it will be 3 years, 3. then-
It's going to be alternating in some
And
fashion.
2 years where we won't appoint town council, and then we'll go back to 23 and 2 years not appointing town council. That-
So in November 2027, there'll be an election. The 2 members that begin with January 1st, 2024, will be elected for a period of 3 years. The remaining town council members, the ones that were elected, those positions. And so what you end up is in 3 years from that date, you'll have an election, and then an election that following year. And then so you'll have basically 3 members 1 year voted on, and then 2 years, and then next year you'll have 2 members voted.
Okay, so,
So it's just a 1-year separation, not a 2.
okay, so now we have 5 town council members that have a 4-year term.
Correct. Beginning January 1st, 2024.
Okay, so to get 5, because if we haven't, all of those 5 will no longer be town council members.
No, because the
4, so,
the new ones are only to a 3-year term. So the election happens in 27 for the 3, or for the 2 appointed. And then the other ones happen in 28.
They'll all occur in November of 2027. It's just that the terms that they'll be elected for are different.
On that election of the 27th. Okay.
so in 2027, 5 town council members.
Correct.
How many of them?
I think what she's asking is, how have we voted instead of the town?
But that doesn't necessarily mean it's those 2 people.
Those 2 seats.
Oh, yeah, okay, that, I think that was, okay. So we'll elect 2 for 3-year term and 3 for 4 years.
In 27.
And then that'll make them staggered 2, 3, no election, 2, 3, no election, Thank you.
Okay, I apologize for dragging this out. So on the ballot, will those 2 3-year seats be named differently versus the 3 4-year seats in the 2027 election? How do you identify what's what?
Yeah,
When people walk out and voting?
so they're all going to be at-large members, so they just have their names. Whoever's got them, it won't spell out their term. That's the names that will appear, they'll appear the same way that they have to for unofficial. Here on the first, it's just their name, the way that happens.
I thought the purpose of this was so there would be a member on the board that would have knowledge of what's going on with the town. It looks like to me, if you have to elect 5 new members to that board, not if everybody gets what they
You're
have.
not.
Or in 2027, you run that risk.
Right.
But if you elect 5 new members in 2027, how do you determine who gets 4-year terms and who gets the 3-year?
Oh, I understand the question. So it's the ones that have been appointed, 2 that were appointed by the council tonight, but then their term on January 1st, 2024, those are the 2 that will have a 3-year position. We'll have a 3-year term beginning in January of 2024.
How will that be noted on the ballot is his question. How will voters differentiate those 2 positions versus the other 3?
It won't be noted on the ballot. That won't be noted on the ballot. If you walk in understanding that those were the 2 that were
Okay, so it will say on the ballot whose position's being vacated?
well, just who's on the ballot. So if the same person runs again, then you would be voting for that person again for a 3-year term, or against someone else.
I see.
So like, I'll just use Brian as an example. He's elected. So in 4 years, his term is gonna be up. So he'll be on the, and he say he wants to run again. He will be on the ballot, you vote for him as a 2-year council, or 3-year council member, or 4-year, or just one of these.
These positions.
But there's a council member.
Just
Yeah, there's no, yeah. Is it gonna be the majority with the highest votes for 4 years? And the
It's gonna be, evidently it's gonna have to be something that the next council reads around and figures out how to, it has to be, can't be, can be, I
Did you guys make a vote on this?
What?
Did you vote on this resolution?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We voted on this resolution.
Did you make a motion to approve it?
believe we did, yeah.
Sandy, does that help any?
I understand what you're doing, I don't really agree with it, because I don't think that's what the town voted on, but we're past that.
So-
It's already an ordinance, it's been voted on and approved, we just have to make sure that in 4 years, whatever is, we do at the election, it's the way the town wants it done, with the 3-year terms and the 4-year terms, so we get the stagger, that's what everyone wants.
But the thing is, there were some people that knew the reasoning behind it and also how it would be affected. There is some people that knew that.
I think the majority thought we were going to stagger
And it will be
in 4 years.
in 4 years, but we can't do it we can't stagger it right at the beginning. We can't do that by statute, Indiana statute. We can't do that. I'd like to do it. I talked to another town. Here's how one town did it. And this was, I don't know, it was Knightstown that I talked to when they went from 3 to 5. And I asked them why. What they did, what 2 people did, they volunteered they resigned after 2 years. And then they had another election. That's the way they chose to do it, but that's up to the individuals involved, but that's how they settled this issue. 2 of them resigned, and then when they were they were had a poor year, but they resigned at 2 years. And then that way there was they made another election, and then that election seat was for 4 years. Then that way there's a 2-year stagger. But they did that voluntarily. So however want to do it, that's fine, but that's up to the people involved.
Hey, Harry,
Yes.
we really, if people are speaking from the floor, we really need them to come up to
Yeah.
the microphone.
Yeah.
Because people in the online audience can't hear anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop that right now. If anybody's got anything to say, because this is being broadcast over YouTube, live, they can't hear, the rest of the town can't hear what you're saying unless you come up to the mic. So I have to enforce that. It's not fair to the other people that's joining us online this evening. And we did pass this.
The next, we only got one.
We have one application to,
The next on the agenda is the appointment of the Westport Community Building Committee member. And we have one application, and the application is Carolyn Bartlett.
I make the motion that we appoint her to the community board.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, has everybody had a chance to read the minutes?
I have read them.
I've read them.
Any additional corrections?
No.
We'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion.
Oh, seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, has everyone had a chance to read payroll vouchers, adjustment, and monthly bills?
Yes, I have.
Are there any corrections to that?
Nope.
I will entertain a motion.
Make the motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, Rachel, you're up.
Okay, thank you. I will keep this brief. I wanted to give a brief update on our wastewater project. We had a meeting last week with USDA. We also had a follow-up phone call with the State Revolving Loan Fund. Everything is in order. We are really, really close to being able to advertise to bid. We are waiting on one final document, which Alex is working on with the town. And once that is approved, USDA will complete their review and authorize us to advertise the project for bids. We clarified that schedule does work with the State Revolving Loan Fund, so as long as we continue to move the project along quickly, we shouldn't put any of the grant money at risk. I would like, given that we are nearing the end of the year and we need to get this continuing to move quickly to stay on schedule, I would like to ask if the board could approve the project, which has previously been approved by the board, to advertise to bid pending USDA and SRF and legal approval to go to bid. So as soon as they authorize us and say, yes, you're clear to go to bid, I would like approval to go ahead and advertise that.
Any questions?
No, I make the motion that we go ahead and approve the bid.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And what this is contingent on, Alex has to review it before I sign it.
I have one final thing.
Sure.
During that discussion with USDA, they reminded us that they have, since the time we started this project to now, they have updated their contract documents, and they wanted us, Commonwealth, to update our contract document to match, even though we had the original one when we originally signed it. It was their current contract. Now they've updated it. So we have updated our Commonwealth agreement. Nothing has changed with the exception of the added USDA language. All the numbers match and everything matches. I will provide that to Alex to review. I would just like your approval to have Harry, and I think Gloria has to sign it as well, re-sign it once Alex verifies that there are no changes.
I make the motion, we allow that once that he
A
was.
second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Is that all, Rachel?
That is all I have right now. Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, the Marshall contracts. John?
No, or do you want to do community building report?
Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped community building report. Whoever wants to speak, there you go.
Board met this evening. We have chosen a color to proceed with the flooring to have it installed. It will start on the 18th of this month. It will be, we'll have to close everything down until the 21st. As of right now, we'll be doing the front room and the kitchen. We did also talk with her, and she's going to give us a rush estimate to see what it would be to finish the rest of the building. As soon as we know that, we will probably be spending what we have left. And we do have a couple questions on whether anything we have left, whether it rolls over or we lose it. Because if we lose it, we want to spend it.
That's right. Technically, as of today, the budget is done for 2020.
So anything we already have, we've
So
already lost.
anything from here till next, the state has to give us new permissions. Next year, the state gave us permission to spend 20,000 on this building.
Mhm.
If you get that floor spent and it's a large amount of money, I'm gonna do an encumbrance, which means that money will be from this year and the state will hopefully approve that.
Okay.
It's just
So
a
I would
different piece of
suggest-
paper we got to do to transfer it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would suggest going ahead and spending everything you can possibly spend before December 31st. And hopefully the state will approve me to put it towards this year.
Towards this year.
Yes.
Okay. That's basically what we've got. So. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Okay, now we got the Westport Marshall contracts.
You want them read, or do they just come up and take care of them?
Come on up. Come up here and stand up.
We haven't read them in the past. That's just why I'm asking.
Well, Joe, I'm glad to see you. I haven't seen you for a while.
You are really?
Yeah.
Honestly. Is that
Yeah,
gonna be
honestly.
on Recording?
I'm glad to see you.
On the record.
I'm
You're
glad
up
to
and-
see both of
I'm
them.
glad to see you're vertical or horizontal. There you go.
We did make some changes to the Marshall contracts this year. The only changes that were made is that the Marshals will now partake in the same vacation and holiday schedule as the other town employees, as opposed to having two different schedules made. So that anything that the regular town employees get as far as vacation for years of service and holidays will mimic the resolution 2022-7, I think it is. Otherwise, everything else is consistent with what we've done in the past per the contracts.
I would like to make a request.
Sure, why?
And ask the town boards, blessing or not blessing, either one. But we have two deputies. We don't have any reserves at all.
Right.
People are good for the money, not a lot of reserves.
Hit the mic for us.
So what I'm asking is, for any employee that has, on the police department, that has vacation time reoccurring, that it will transfer over to the next year. Like the time, since I've been off on arm surgery, back surgery, I've still got accumulated 2 weeks, even though I am getting paid from workman's comp.
Right.
But I'm not able, I've got extra expenses, and I also have, not able to go anywhere. So with us being only two, it's not like you got that floater in there that you can have working while you take your vacation. We have to plan ahead of time, work things out. Like I've been off, Luke's been the only one. So with his vacation time and mine, that stops January 1st and we lose it all. So I'm just asking if it could roll over.
Now, is that just for this particular year or on a
Well,
continuing basis?
until they change the ordinance, or this particular year is what I'm asking for, but I mean, that's up to you guys to decide. how
John,
many
with the
years.
increase in them going to the same handbook as the employees, that equals out what his rollover would have been, so he'll actually benefit from that. But if you were to move forward, the other employees have to use theirs within their higher date fiscal year. So whatever, if someone was hired in March, they have to use that vacation by the next March.
Are we as a police department going to the towns entire handbook. So that means that if we do that, we can ask for time and a half instead of comp time.
It's the vacation and the,
Well, I know.
holidays.
Yeah, and holidays.
And
and sick
it's
leave.
sick days and holidays.
What she's mentioning is the other town employees. So there again, we're bringing it back together. I'm not asking for the town employees, I'm asking for the police department.
There is
And
an exception on the handbook that the police department can still accrue comp time because the other employees can't accrue comp time, and that's cited in the handbook. But nobody at this point on the handbook is allowed to roll over vacation. They can roll over up to, I think, 248 sick hours, but, because there's like a cutoff on sick hours.
about comp
eventually,
time?
But not vacation time. Vacation is used within a year. So the employee handbook would need to be adjusted or continue them on a separate contract with different language in it.
yeah, we either go by the handbook or we go by the contract, can't have it both ways.
Well, all your contract is doing is specifying how your holidays are figured out.
The handbook or the contract?
The contract refers to the handbook's
Right.
subsections, not the handbook in its entirety.
Mhm.
And that would be something we couldn't change tonight, Joe,
Does the contract say their vacation won't roll over in it anywhere?
yeah, let's see what the contract says.
Yeah, my point is we go by the handbook or we go by contract, which.
Joe, if you need to sit down, just grab a seat.
No,
All right.
that's my question. Do we go by the town handbook? Or do we go by the contract? I mean, I don't have to sign it tonight, right? It's not mandatory.
Well, if you don't sign it tonight, you don't get paid January 1st, technically.
Then I won't be here
This
then.
contract renews for
I won't be here.
January.
And you can vote no or whatever, but
Or if there's language, you guys can mark it out and write what you want it to be in that.
Did John figure that out? Are you going somewhere, Joe?
pardon?
Are you going somewhere?
That's here and there. But
You said you wouldn't be here. So
yeah, I mean, she said that if I didn't sign a contract, I would not get paid, so I wouldn't be here. I'm not getting paid. I wouldn't stay around and put you in any more burden.
All employees have to have an assigned wage before January 3rd.
We're not
So
talking
then
about
that's-
wages. We're not talking about wages.
That's what your contract's about.
Yeah, the contract's about wages. I'm asking something totally other different than that.
Verbiage only states that benefits are awarded that way, not that they can't roll them over or anything.
I mean, I'm asking the town board so you guys can vote and the books can come later.
Number 4.
So what you're asking is to go ahead and have your vacation time here now, too?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's 2 weeks that I'll be losing. That I was
The
asking.
contract you're adding, you would be where you're at. Like if you stayed on the vacation that they were
I-
set on, he would get his 200 hours.
Mhm.
But are you,
With her, John, I'm out of here.
What's that?
But the way I read this,
is he just asking for 80 more, like 280 hours next year?
The additional 80 hours.
but
So,
You don't have to be signed at the beginning of the year.
well, I mean, if you want to work on the first, they do.
I mean, just talk with Joe on that as well, figure out what we want to do.
How much vacation are you rolling over you couldn't take?
I'm not going to do it.
Okay. Because my thing would be that any issue because of this year's exception anything left over this year would roll over. This wouldn't be a continued basis. This would be the specific contract, not on a rotating basis.
So then we are on the same as the town with the handbook or the contract? I don't.
I've already explained that 3 times. As far as the way that it's accrued, you are on the handbook.
Okay, we'll have to talk with Joe then. Or do anything else.
Okay. So the next council will address your contracts if they choose to after the first of the year. But as of the first of the year, if these contracts aren't signed this evening, I just want to make it clear that the town of Westport has no police responsibilities.
Joe, and we'll read that too, if I understand this right, that we couldn't change that unless we'd have to change it by a town ordinance, correct?
It'd be my guess if we wanted to roll his vacation time over, we would just vote to roll his vacation time over would be my guess. Am I correct?
I think, are we operating under, we're talking about the contract, I guess, for, that they have in 2023?
No, the one that we're going to sign for them to operate under 2024.
Yeah, and it's reference to the Insured Home Worker Incorporation that, you could include that into the contract itself. That
Correct.
the 80 days is
But for this year,
right.
because it's next year's contract. It only
So is he just
stays for
asking
1 year.
No, they didn't
Is
sign
Joe
it.
just asking for his vacation time that he has secured for this
I
year?
think to answer your question, that could come included in the contract.
Yeah, we could just note it at the other side, at the bottom of the contract.
What I'm saying is Joe just asking for his vacation time for this year?
That he
because
couldn't
he's
take
been
this
on-
year, yes.
Yes, well, I think that,
Can we,
I would say that probably or you tell me if this is a problem accounting for that, would be to figure out how many days those are and maybe include those as a finite number of days in addition on the next contract. Instead of calling it sort of a rollover, just finding out how many days those are and including those as additional vacation days that you take.
Joe, you've referenced it as 2 weeks. Do you have can
Joe,
you equate that to days or hours or whatever that is?
200 hours.
That's for next year.
No. I mean, what you want to roll over. What you have left from this year, you want to roll over. 40 hours?
Could you just note at the bottom of the contract, Joe will also carry over 40 additional
I don't have
vacation
any
hours?
problem with that.
And
I have
would
no
that
problem.
work, or?
can we do it that way?
Yeah, I'd say, if you wanted to do that, that would be sort of
80?
Yeah, that's something that could be added to the contract, that he'll receive these additional hours, as vacation days,
For this term, for this
for this
contract.
current
for this
contract.
You could say it as a rollover from previous years, if you prefer to, like to do it that way, but really you're allocating an additional number of hours in fiscal year, 2024.
Mhm.
of operating vacation days. That's what you're about to do.
And I don't have a problem with that, as long as it's, it's the right way to do it, it's legal way that we can do it. But we're going to have to redraw up a contract, rewrite it up and put that including in it.
And so you could approve, if you'd like to, the contract subject to that change, and then that language can be added, and then,
Can it be handwritten in this evening?
This is what we're asking for 2023, not next year. That's already in there.
No, he wants to roll over 2024.
I see. Okay.
Alex is saying that you could go ahead and make the motion with the update of the hours included to approve it and just document in the minutes.
Yeah.
And then you and Joe could sign it at a different time if Joe's in agreement to that.
Okay.
I make the motion that we accept the,
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now, there's no
Okay,
rollover for you, correct?
none for
Luke?
Luke. There's no rollover for you, Luke, right? I think he took his. I don't know. Did he take his?
There's nothing that you were looking to roll
No.
over? Okay.
I think Joe's still got my pen.
Joe, did you take Harry's pen?
The one
You got
said-
Harry's pen?
The one that says Fairmont Hotel, Canada.
What's that?
If I get rid of that, Joe, my wife will kill me, right? Lose a pen.
I don't know what it exactly equates to, but I know
No,
that it's
Joe,
an
you didn't.
increase for you. I don't know what it equates to exactly.
No, you didn't. It's right there. Yeah, that's fine, Joe. We problem with that at all.
What's the date today?
Well, Luke?
Good.
Yeah, we're good. Unless you want to add any comments. All right. Joe hasn't signed that.
Well, Joe won't sign this.
Not this one, right?
Right. But before we go, Joe, if you'd come up here.
Okay.
Hang on, Harry.
What? Oh.
Just so that we know that you're in agreement with the contract pending the additional 80 hours. And we
Correct.
can make that amendment and sign it at a later date, correct?
Yeah, just a vote, whether it's a.
We've
yes
already,
or
we've
no.
already voted to go ahead and
Okay,
do that.
yeah.
I just want to make sure that you're agreeing to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, next is the service contract for the Kiwanis. Is there a representative from the Kiwanis to receive the check? Well, how about somebody from the fire department? Well, I'll have to come and get it.
Barb, can't you
There
get
you
the
are.
Kiwanis check?
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Okay,
Did we invite a member of the Kiwanis for this?
Do what? We do have a member
No,
here.
did we invite a member of the Kiwanis? Did they know it was tonight?
It's always the last meeting of the year. No, I didn't call
All right.
Okay,
They're always here.
okay.
Okay, moving along, I'm going to close that part of our meeting out, and then I'm going to open up for ordinance 2023-10, -5, -11, and -12 will be the second reading, and that will be open to public comment. Gotta have that. Okay. Ordinance 2023-10, an ordinance for additional appropriations for fiscal year 2023. Whereas it has been determined that it is now necessary to appropriate more money than was originally appropriated in the annual budget. Therefore, be it ordained by the Town Council of the Town of Westport, Decatur, Indiana, that for the expenses of the taxing unit, the following additional sums of money are hereby appropriated out of the funds named and for the purposes specified, subject to the laws governing the same. Major budget classification, line item 3,000, other services and charges. The amount requested, $254,813. The amount approved by Town Council, $254,813. The total for CCG fund, $254,800. Amount approved by the Town Council, $254,813. Fund name, Motor Vehicle Highway. Requested $63,704. Amount approved by Westport Town Council, $63,704. Total for Motor Vehicle Highway Fund, $63,704. The amount approved by the Westport Town Council, $63,704. Is there any questions on that? All right, being none, do I have a motion on the floor?
Make a motion?
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Next is Resolution 2023-5. A resolution to repeal Resolution 2023-7 and replace it with this resolution to transfer from Motor Vehicle Highway Fund, Local Road and Street Fund, and Motor Vehicle Highway Restricted Fund to the Community Crossing Grant Fund for the town's share of project January 2023. The Town Council of the Town of Westport hereby authorizes the clerk treasurer to transfer immediately the amount of $4,000 from the Motor Vehicle Highway Fund, $25,027.43 from the Local Road and Street Fund, $89,675.81 from the Motor Vehicle Highway Restricted Fund to the Community Crossing Grant Project, totaling $118,703.24 in matching funds. Is there any comment or questions about this? There being none, do I have a motion on the floor?
I make the motion that we accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, ordinance 2023-11. An ordinance establishing salaries and compensation for employees and elected officers. Whereas Indiana Code 36-5-3-2 states that the town legislative body shall fix the compensation of its own members, the town clerk treasurer, town marshal, other town officers, and employees. Whereas the town council wishes to establish the salary shall be effective January the 1st, 2024. Therefore, be it ordained by the town council that the following salary schedule shall be in full force and effective January the 1st, 2024. Effective January the 1st, 2024, the town of Westport will continue a bi-weekly payroll period. The ordinance reflects bi-weekly payroll amounts. Town Council President, $315.79 a month, paid out of 1/3 comes out of the general budget, 1/3 out of the water, and another 1/3 out of the sewer, sewer, yes, that's correct. The council president, I'm sorry, I misread that. The town council salary is $315 a month and 79 cents paid out of those funds. The town council president monthly will be paid $360.55. 1/3 of that will come out of the general budget, 1/3 will come out of the water, 1/3 will come out of the sewer. The clerk treasurer biweekly is $1,941.68. 1/3 comes out of the general, 1/3 comes out of the water, 1/3 comes out of the sewer. The town marshal is biweekly from $1,500 up to $3,000 out of the general budget. The deputy marshal is biweekly from $1,400 to $2,000 out of the general budget. The deputy clerk treasurer hourly is 18 to a range of 24, half out of the general, half out of the water and sewer. Deputy clerk annually is $1,100. That's coming out of the general. The superintendent of public works hourly between $24 to $30 an hour. Motor vehicle, general fund, and water and sewer fund. Utility worker 1 hourly between 17 and the 31 comes out of water and sewer. Utility worker 2, 17 to 25 comes out of water and sewer, 50 cents each. Utility worker 2 is 17 to 20, motor vehicle 50%, water and sewer 50%. Utility clerk, $12 to $17 an hour, water 50%, sewer 50%. Part-time, cemetery and street 3, $10.50 to $16 an hour. Motor vehicles, 25%. Water and sewer will be 50%. That only adds up 75%. Did I read that wrong? It says motor vehicle 25%, water and sewer 50%. This is on the cemetery and street. Do what?
Part-time.
Oh, that's part-time help, okay. Cleaning person hourly, 14 to 19. General budget, 50%, water and sewer 50%. Westport transfer, which sets out the recycling center, hourly 15 to 17, comes out of the general budget. Community building manager monthly is $600 out of the general budget. Okay, after open and closed graves, after hours and weekends is $60 an hour. Cemetery overseer biannual is $500 for the cemetery. Fund charge may vary based on duties performed. Hours shall not exceed 40 hours per week unless prior authorization is required. Hours shall not exceed 32 hours per week unless prior authorization is required. Overtime. Time and a half hours will be given to eligible employees who have exceeded 40 hours work time in a week. Holidays, sick, and vacation days are considered hours worked. Overtime worked on Saturday will always be considered time and a half hours regardless of other hours worked. Overtime on Sunday and holidays will always be considered 2 hours. That's double time, right? Double time? Okay.
Yep.
Double time regardless of other hours worked. This ordinance is adopted in compliance with Indiana Code 36-5-3-2, mandating the town legislative body establish salaries for town officials, officers, and employees. Any questions? Yes.
Harry, I got one on the cemetery. I'm just confused. You said it was $60 for after hours and weekends, right?
Yeah, that's what it says.
So has that changed or have we been doing things wrong?
But
When we do them when we close the grave during the week, we're still, as far as I know, we're still on the clock.
Yes, you are.
Okay, that's after hours. If we stop at 4, should we be filling out a separate card for the $60 or will we give us our time?
That's how it's always been written. I didn't change anything from that, so.
Yeah, I'm not asking, I just want to make sure we've been doing it right. 'Cause the way he just said, I feel like we've been doing it wrong for the last 5 years.
And just have to get with Gloria on
Okay.
how, yeah.
That's something well, that's a good question. Anybody else? Okay, I will.
Sandy?
Huh?
Sandy?
Yeah, Sandy.
When you read that, you said, utility clerk, and then after utility clerk, you said part-time, Westport transfer. Is the utility clerk not considered part-time anymore?
Correct.
Because she was last year.
That's correct.
Okay, so how many hours is the utility clerk going to work next year versus like this year?
The utility clerk has been full-time since 2023, and she works approximately 32 hours a week. The full-time does give her benefits, but there's no stipulation on how many hours she needs to work.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, so prior to this year, she was not working 32 hours a week. And so she's part-time. Now she is working 32 hours a week, so she's considered full-time.
It's not based on hours, it's based on class. At full-time, she's offered insurance versus when she was part-time, she wasn't offered insurance. According to hours, it really is just depending on what we want to consider full-time. It doesn't mean just because you're 32, you're full-time. So the hours haven't changed since she was hired in.
Just the job classification has
Yeah.
changed.
Yes.
Okay, then I have a question, like how much of an increase is that from 2023 to 2024?
Only 3%.
So every town employee, whatever they made, they're now gonna get 3% raise.
Correct.
Okay. Then how much total, and I know you don't know how many people are work, how many hours, if it's a water leak at midnight or whatever. What you can anticipate the salaries for the town employees to increase from 2023 to 2024.
I base it on their job activity for this year, so when I,
No, we maybe I didn't explain it right. Like, is this gonna be a $20,000 salary increase total? Is it a $5,000 increase? That's what I'm kind of.
That was listed on our budget. I don't have that in front of me. I mean, it showed, but.
I mean, it's a 3% increase across the board. I haven't calculated each individual salary and said, oh, well.
No,
we're gonna have
she's
this
just
much
thinking
more. Is that what you're saying?
globally, as a town in a whole, what are our salary payments going up? So, you know, if we were
Mine
at
for 7 years.
350,000 last year, are we gonna be at 360 this year? You know, what's the differential?
Because now we have 2 new town council members, which were not on the last salary ordinance. We now have the person who manages the community building, which was not on the town ordinance. We got the guy at the dump, the transfer that was not on the ordinance. So, I mean, that's a lot of people that have full.
The transfer was on the ordinance because this is year 3
Yeah.
for the transfer. As far
Our
as the
clerk has been out
part-time,
there.
That's
So
the
it
second
wasn't ever
year.
part-time street, that was,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, and we've had that since 2018 or 19, so that's not a new position.
That's back when Roy was still over there.
Yeah, I mean, we had Roy, then we hired Keisha, and we had other people, so we've had various part-timers along the way.
Always.
So it's just based on the activity for the town. I could sit down and calculate each
Well, I just feel
individual's.
like if we have $7,000 or $8,000 additional in town council members, and I expect those people to be paid, I mean, I'm not saying anybody should do that for free when, because we only have 3 people in the budget. I know it's $7,200 to manage the community building, which wasn't in last year's salary.
But it was budgeted for this year, because we do our budget in July, so a lot of this had happened by then. I budgeted most of that in there already for the
So like if you
2024
budgeted, and
budget.
I'm just gonna make up numbers like John, 450,000. So if we had 350,000 in our budget for 2023, do we have 360,000 in the budget for this year? Do we have 400,000 in the budget for this year?
When I passed out our budget in September, it would show you that. Unfortunately, I don't have it in front of me tonight. And it did show that our budget has risen. We last year had a budget of over $1 million for 2023 because of ARP funding. We did not have that this year, so our budget went down 300,000 due to not budgeting ARP funding for 2024. So our budget overall for 2024 shows a decrease. Plus, I'm decreasing the 2023 budget as well tonight. But when we calculate those raises, it's based on the predicted amount of funding that we're going to get in the next year. We get tax levies that come out in August, and that gives us a good idea of how much funding we're going to have in 2024. And along with that, we look at the activity going along with the town to kind of determine how much can we afford and how many people on the payroll we can afford. A lot of them are under the water and sewer budget, so you're seeing some of the employees under general, but some of them are also water sewer, which typically you don't see that budget. And there's usually a profit on that side, so that carries us quite a bit as well.
Okay, so when the budget was made for 2024, you took into consideration the extra town council members, the extra employees, the extra, and now the utility clerk is full-time, there's extra health insurance and benefits for that. That's already been figured into the budget for 2024.
Yes.
But you don't know if it's.
We had allocated that in the budget even though the vote hadn't happened, because we had to have all that done.
Yeah, and you can't know for sure, so it's part guessing, part looking at the numbers, looking at the predictions for 2024, looking at what the state levies are, and calculating all that to determine, okay, how much do we have? And then the Department of DLGF, which is the Indiana Department of Finance, also helps us through that process. And so they're also looking at the numbers. They're looking at our trends from the previous years. They're looking at our future years. and they have the ultimate say on whether they approve what we have budgeted to spend in the future. So if I'm over budgeted, they let me know, and they're gonna say, hey, we can't afford it. Because they look at how much profit we have in the town, they look at how much revenue has come in, and they look at how much money we've spent. It is a complicated process, and you're welcome to come down to town hall, and I can show you more of that.
Like if you look at Gateway, like if you look in 2018, the town had like 397,000 in salary. Well, in 2022, they were up to 440,000.
Sure.
Then there was a 6% increase for the wages for this year, according to the minutes of the meeting.
Correct.
And then we're also going up 3% again. I was just wondering, is that 440,000 now going to be 500,000?
Well, the state has come out with statistics stating that inflation is going up 17%. So how do you accommodate for that? If we technically want to go along with statistics, we ought to be raising our salaries by 17 to 20%.
She's just wondering what the end result is, what our estimated result.
Yeah, that's all she's asking.
It's based on the council, what they decide to do each year, and depending on how our budget is doing for that year, and also how much levy money is coming in. I make that recommendation based on working with the Department of Finance and saying, this is how much money we're gonna probably have for next year, this is how well taxes are doing. And then when the council reviews it in August and September, they make that determination on how far we increase the employees' budgets.
I don't think Sandy's so much asking how it's derived. I think she understands what you're explaining. She's looking for a tangible number to say, we're estimating the increase from last year to be 10,000, 20,000.
Because at the last town council meeting, Damon mentioned that there's a rule that possibly we might have to name a water treatment plant. When something there, that's gonna add. If we have to.
If that comes into, and we didn't plan on that in the budget. That's all come in post-budget.
Correct. And I understand that is not in the budget. But I'm just looking at this kind of in the long run, if we increase 10,000, 25,000, whatever this year, and all of a sudden to meet those requirements, we have to pay people to be at the water treatment plant, which would be another 40, 50, 60,000. I don't know how many hours we would be able to cover. That's what I'm kind of wanting to know. Just an idea, I'm not.
And Sandy, you're right about that, and there's been some talk, and the next town council will be working on it, but there's, Damon's talked about a way that to, cut some of the overtime, and it's a constructive way of doing it to save money.
Staggering hours,
Staggering hours and doing different things, and we've already talked about it. One thing I want to add to this too, out at the Westport transfer, his salary is also offset, and it doesn't show that here, but it's offset by the solid waste. Okay, so then that goes, whoever goes up to the solid waste meeting, I think it's every other month, the last Tuesday of the month, I think, isn't it? Something like that. Because of the way that we're looked upon in the county is, and the Greensburg should get all the other funding, then somebody that goes up there from the town council has to be fighting for the interests of Westport.
And Harry, I've already met with Stephanie from the.
And Stephanie's gonna pay us?
Recycling. Yeah, and they've already approved the grant for that.
Good.
So we get a grant every year from Decatur County Recycling to pay for the man that mans the transfer. Because most of what is used there is the recycling. As far as the town making a profit, if we had to pay his salary, we would not make any profit. We're bringing in sometimes less than $200 a week, and we pay him at least $150 per week just to man the transfer. Most of what's going on at the transfer is recycling, so they have funded him to man it, to keep it clean, because there's a lot of chance that if there wasn't manning of the recycling, that it would become a mess. So.
But aside from that, we don't have that budget information with us. But like Gloria said, if you would come down, she could probably give you a tangible number based on if she had that information in front of her.
Is it 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, just a number?
For the salaries, are you talking?
Yeah, an increase from last year to this year.
Yeah, because everything went up 3%. Like, there's 3 utility workers. I don't know how, we have 4 utility workers, we have per person or?
Right, right. Yeah, this ordinance here specifically just says how much that they can make and what the range is that they can be paid, as far as where they top out, where they start, everything else. It doesn't give any definitive answers on what the spending is going to be over the year. And that would be on the budget paperwork that we had filed, but we don't have that to give you that tangible number today on what we estimated that increase to be from last year to this year. But if you go down, Gloria could give that to you.
And it should be on Gateway for the public. You should have access to that. The approval from the state has already occurred for our 2024 budget. All of Decatur County has been approved. So you should have access to the 2024 budget, but that will not give you information on like individual water and sewer, because the water sewer budget is not part of
Well, no,
that
but
general.
if you look at the salaries, you'll be able to understand the increase differential from last year to this
And
year.
I tried to look at the budget to see, but I realized water and sewer, I thought, they pay more than what the budget is, and then I realized water and sewer was not in the budget that you guys approved. So
Yeah.
Right.
Does that kind of answer it, Sandy?
not really, but I'll contact Gloria.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, that's a good way to do it. Any other questions? I have a motion on the floor.
Make a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, next is employee insurance benefits.
No, you still got another ordinance.
Oh, we still got another ordinance? Oh, my goodness. Okay, ordinance 2023-12. An ordinance for appropriation reduction for fiscal year 2023. Whereas it has been shown that certain existing appropriations now have unobligated balances that will not be needed for the purpose for which appropriated. Therefore, be it ordained by the Town Council of Westport, Decatur County, Indiana, that the following existing appropriations be reduced in the following amounts. Named general budget. Budget classification 1,000, personnel services, amount requested 50,000, amount approved by Town Council, and that's a total of 50,000 amount requested and 50,000 amount approved by the Town Council. Any questions? Okay, being none, I.
Second reading, so I'll make a motion.
Make a motion, you second it? All in favor? Aye. Alrighty, John. Okay, I will close that portion of the meeting and open it back up for regular town agenda. And we have employee insurance benefits. We had a meeting.
somebody here.
Huh?
I'm here.
Oh, you're here. Good.
I'm here. You don't have to do it tonight. I got you.
Well, I'm glad to see you.
Absolutely.
All right, go over it for us.
What's that?
I said you got the floor.
Oh, well, as you know, after multiple meetings, emails, discussions, I think we finally come to a number for the employees, moving them over to Anthem, to the one policy that we all discussed at the meeting at the town hall. I did get some numbers for Gloria for ortho, for the dental. There's only one plan that was available, so that's where we're running because the employees need the ortho for their children. And then we picked a vision plan. All in all, the good news is a little lower cost from your United Healthcare, and it saves you some money in the HSA accounts. So putting some money back in your budget.
How does it affect the HSA?
We won't have it anymore,
We
so
won't
you'll
have
no
it.
longer be paying 2,000 towards them.
Okay.
So we'll leave this with Gloria, but because I know she didn't bring her copy, so.
Yeah, I've got a copy with me. That was 9 VU4.
That's correct.
Any questions from the council members?
No, but it's about time something went down, wasn't it?
No, I have no question.
You got any questions?
I don't.
Billy, in our meeting, you pretty well explained it when I was there with you.
Went through a lot, lots of emails back and forth between me and
Yeah.
Gloria.
Well, this time we kind of wanted to get it right and have
Oh, yeah,
employee input on it and make sure everything was clear before we voted on it.
absolutely. She has
Yeah.
everything she needs in emails, clarifications, so she's good to go.
Right.
Absolutely.
Hardy, thank you.
You're
I
welcome, sir.
guess what's left for us is to vote on it.
Does it require a vote?
I beg your pardon?
Does it require a vote?
Yeah, they're going to switch to, it requires us to vote on it, doesn't it?
It would be nice to have it on the record since you're approving a new plan with Anthem versus United Healthcare.
And everything was discussed with the employees?
Yes, it was.
Make a motion.
I have a second.
Yes.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Billy.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay. Jeff, I think you're up. Come on down.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's been a great night, hasn't it?
Yeah, you've been interesting.
I'm been talking with building commission out of Decatur County. They just want me to come before the council and tell them what I'm proposing to them. I bought the house, which was the mustard and the ketchup house on Mulberry Street. It's a huge house. We're actually breaking that up into apartments. Currently, it's zoned R3, which means you can have a multi-double unit there, but you can't have a 3-unit there. And so we're proposing to make that a 3-unit. So it has to be zoned from an R3 to an R4. And so they want me to come to the council and let them know what was happening, make sure water and sewer was available to that property, although it has been since 1890. So that's what they're wanting, and they're wanting a letter from the board that I've come and I have proposed that before I go back to the Decatur County Building Committee.
I, for one, am appreciative of you buying the house and redoing it. And as far as affordable housing, we always need lots of that. And you're doing it the right way. That's what I appreciate more than anything. You're not trying to pull some strings.
And I believe we would get, up on approval, we would get a letter.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll sign it.
So I make the motion that we go ahead and make the letter for him to.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Jeff will get you a letter up and I'll sign it and you can take it down.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next, adjustments for Jack Ogle. Is Jack Ogle here?
I don't think he was able to make it here because he's not very well. So here's the calculations for it. He had a leak that went over 2 months. And so we were able to go ahead and adjust 1 month, but this would be the additional month.
We okayed him when it was broken.
But it just straddled
But
2
it come in
months.
the middle of the
We've
month.
okayed the situation already. It
Right.
just straddled 2 months.
Well, it qualifies under the ordinance, 1 leak per year. So when it carried 1 leak per year for 1 month.
But
If it
because it
carries
carried
in-
over the split?
Yeah, yeah, and it's a considerable amount. So.
Make a motion.
I have a second?
Yes.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, Damon, you're up.
I'll try to make it later. Utility work schedule, everybody can see the asphalt's all done, sidewalks are done. I still have a little bit of dirt to spread out and get rid of, but other than that, it's done. The other one thing I got for the board is, the old sidewalks they took out, the old slab rocks. There've been a few people in town, want to know if they could, have those instead of us just, getting rid of them. But since, they're back from the day and some people see them as part of history, I wanted your guys' blessing, to just give them away or do something with. I guess if you don't want us to give them away, what do you want us to do with them?
I think that you should give them to someone who use them. Those were all over this town when I came here.
Yeah, they're still all over. There's
Yeah,
plenty of
still
them in
a lot
town
of
as
them
we do
around.
sidewalks, but.
I gave mine to the school when they made this outdoor lab.
Okay.
So if you do have some that nobody does want, you might talk to the school.
All right, and if anybody else is interested in them, just get a hold of me. I don't know the exact number what we
Bunch.
have. But we have a few of them there.
About 3 tons in there.
Another thing I got was, when we got the new water plant, it's just not performing the way we thought it was going to perform, or was under the impression it was going to perform. So we have switched chemical companies, and it does seem to be doing a little bit better. We have, let me think, I don't want to mislead anybody. Hawkins, is it Hawkins where we're currently at? Yeah, we went to Hawkins. The chlorine is half the cost with them, the exact same chlorine we was using. The carbon, it doesn't seem like it helps much anymore, but it seems like it's lasting a little longer, if that makes sense. So, I mean, I guess in reality, it might be using a little bit less carbon, but it's not a dramatic amount. And as far as cost, it's about the same. The potassium permanganate that we use now, one of the coagulants, it comes pre-mixed where it just gets put in the barrel. We don't have to mix it out of the 5-gallon cans anymore. So that way, ratios are, in my opinion, are more accurate. Even though we got nice scales and stuff, if it comes pre-mixed, we know it's exactly where it's supposed to be. And the other chemical we use, right now we're having to, I don't know if you guys know how it comes in. It comes in 55-gallon drums, and they're about 650 pounds a piece. And we have no way of moving them except for manhandle them. And I know a few of us are big boys, but 650 pounds is a lot. So I got a proposal from Hawkins to change to a system to where, again, a truck can just pull up and fill the day tank versus us having to get these barrels, having to dispose of these plastic barrels because they don't, the company we was with would take them back, but they didn't like to. And then there for a while, they actually charged us to take them back. So the new system would be a new day tank, which is what stores the chemical. And they will actually monitor it. And when it needs filled, the truck comes and fills it. We don't have to mess with the barrels anymore. Gloria, did you happen to bring it? Or you guys got copies of it?
It makes more sense to do it that way.
Yeah. One of them was, let me get to the page the price is on. Option one was $4,200. Like I said, that was to remove the current tank and scales that we have and replace them with the bigger 300-gallon day tank. And the combo with a Vegas level indicator, which that's what will notify them, let them know, when we need more chemical. The second option was a more expensive option, $8,700, but yet it doesn't let them know. It don't communicate with them to let them know, when we need filled. But it does keep track of exactly how much chemical we use. We do it by hand now, like they've done it for years. So I can't justify the $8,700 just for this machine to tell me I use 50 pounds a day when I can look at the scale just like we're doing now and track the two numbers and know exactly how much we use. So I'm asking if we can move forward and spend the $4,200 to get the new system for the new chemicals.
And that's the one where instead of a barrel, it would just be put in.
Yeah, it's a bigger day tank, and they'll plumb it, and where they come, and they just pipe right into it and fill it. We don't have to. We won't.
And it notifies them when you need it. You don't have to call them.
Yeah. No. Well, it's on a schedule, but they can monitor it and see where we're at to make sure we're not using more or less. Because there's days, the wintertime, the plant slows down. We might run 8 hours a day to 12 versus the summertime when we're selling a lot of bulk water running, 10 to 16 hours a day. So, depending on the time of year, we're going to use more chemical, certain times of year we are other, just because of the amount of water we're producing. So, but yeah, I think the cheaper option is actually the better one for us. I mean, we're all capable of doing the math.
I make the
on the
motion
sheet, so.
that we move forward on this. This makes more sense than the way it was done.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the other thing we got was employees wanting to go to 4 10-hour days. We were kind of tossed between working 6 to 4 or 7 to 5. So and I think with what I explained before, without losing the daylight, we would just change with the time change. Summertime we'd work 6 to 4, and then when the time changes in the fall and spring, we would work 7 to 5, so that way we're not losing daylight.
I think everybody needs to understand is we're still gonna have coverage 5 days.
Yeah, what we would do, 2 of us would work Monday through Thursday, and 2 of us would work Tuesday through Friday. So somebody's still here Monday through Friday. There's, and of course, the weekends is weekends, but yeah, there would still be coverage 5 days a week.
And that should cut down on some of the overtime and some of the other things. Is that what you're thinking?
Right now, I can't promise it will cut down on much overtime because it's
Well, I guess
still
it's all
there.
dependent on what breaks and what.
Right, yeah, we can't
Yeah,
predict, like, was it Sunday night, we had a massive water leak, worked till midnight over on Gatewood. I am putting something together that I think will save the town thousands of dollars on overtime, but.
Maybe I was confusing those two things when we were talking.
Yeah, one at a time. I don't want to present tonight. 'Cause I want to get all the statistics and then put it all together before I present it, but.
Sorry, I was mashing those two together.
No, you're fine. I completely understand, but I just think, once we get this, I get this done and talk to the new board, I think the town could benefit greatly on overtime, but that's the future.
And I think so too. You just had to put that together and present it to the next town council.
I think it's a good idea. The extended hours will help, especially on meter reading days and everything else, so I don't have any issue with it.
You got a motion?
Make a motion.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That's all I have. Does anybody else have any questions for me? Yeah.
Okay, so you're proposing working 6 AM to 4 PM during daylight savings time and 7 AM to 5 PM
Yes.
during the winter?
Yes.
Okay. There's 14 paid holidays. What is the town gonna do on the weeks when there's holidays? Okay, like let's say you're the Tuesday through Friday. So Memorial Day, weekend, Monday is a holiday, so how does that affect you? Are you now gonna take Tuesday off?
Yes, that's what we do now. If we're off,
So that week, there'll be only 2 people work Tuesday. And there's 4 people in the utility department?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that week will be off Monday, I'll have an issue with that. Tuesday, we'll have 2 employees. Wednesday and Thursday, we'll have 4 employees, and Friday, we'll have 2.
Yes. The holidays will not change. I mean, that's what we do now. So, I mean,
Now, instead of getting paid 8 hours for holidays, we're now paying all the town employees 10 hours for holidays. And every vacation day that you take, instead of being 8-hour vacation, unless your vacation is set in hours.
It's set in days.
It's set in days.
It's set in days.
Your vacation hours have increased by 25%.
I guess I didn't look at it as that. The holidays won't change. I
And then
mean,
we're also paying you for your lunch hour, which you're not paid for now.
right. But half the time I end up working my lunch hour anyway. So, I mean, which that's besides the point. That's
So, and then how is that gonna affect the 4 of you when you decide to take your vacation? Because now if,
well, we all don't take vacation at the same time
right,
anyway.
but see, now we'll be down to, if one person takes a vacation on a week,
Mhm.
pick a week, doesn't matter, there'll only be 3 town employees working that week. So
Correct.
how are we gonna get 2 people on Monday and 2 people on Friday? Is somebody gonna have to work on Friday, which is their day off, and we're gonna have to pay them overtime? So we'll have.
Well, it won't
2
be, if we have to move somebody around, it won't be overtime. We can just ask them, somebody to trade one of their days during the week for Friday. But even if there's nobody here on Friday because somebody's taken off, it'd be no different than it is now.
But
Yeah,
now
on-
somebody takes off, you have 3 people working. Now we're gonna be down to 1.
I guess I'm not understanding. How do you figure in one?
We have 4 people working.
Right.
You're gonna have 2 people work Monday through Thursday.
Mhm.
You're gonna have 2 people work Tuesday through Friday.
Right.
So if the guy who works Tuesday through Friday wants to take a week's vacation, it's not gonna affect Monday, but it will affect Friday. Because that's his day to work.
Right.
He's not gonna be there, he's on vacation. There's only 1 person.
Correct.
So are we gonna have to hire a part-time person?
No, because the way we do things now is, If it's a Friday or Monday, like we do all of our samples, we have our daily sampling we do, but all of our required samples, we do them. Like we move that stuff around to where we do them weekly, but if they're not going to be here on Thursday or Friday, we'll do them on Monday or Tuesday because we're allowed to do them any day of the week we want. We just for example, the sewer samples. We put them in, 5 days later, we take them out. So typically we'll put them in on Thursday, take them out on Tuesday. So there's not going to be, so it shouldn't affect that at all anyway. But if we were to have to do them on, we can move them to, taking them out or putting them in on Wednesday and taking them out on Monday. See, it's not, I don't think it's really going to affect that or the holidays because even now, what's the difference in only, I guess my question would be, well, what's the difference in only one guy being here on Friday or right now nobody being here on a holiday?
Well, it's because you were being paid for 8 hours of holiday pay, and now you're going to be paid for 10 hours of holiday pay.
But 40 hours a week is 40 hours a week, whether we work 5 days or 4.
Well, then why don't you just work 5 days? It's just the same.
Because we're trying to get it to where we can have more time with our families.
Yeah, but how does that benefit Westport? I understand. I don't.
No, I'm trying to understand where you're going with it because
I don't see how that benefits the town. To give you guys 3-day weekend every week. And see, now you're talking about, where last meeting you were talking about daylight savings time. Now you're talking about the entire year. I work for construction company. 10-hour days, we barely work. What's going to happen when it's 95 degrees in July and 90% humidity? You're going to work 10 hours
You need
that
to stop
day?
that. You need to stop it.
I just think there's lots of potential
She's
issues,
just
and
trying
I
to-
would ask the current town council members, town council to table us, go through some of these issues, and then make your decision, because there's multiple areas where the vacation, the holiday, what's gonna happen if you only have one person working and a storm comes through town, we've got a bunch of limbs that need.
Harry, can I speak up and say something?
Yeah.
We do have an emergency on call that happens every week. Each guy has a rotation. And on holidays, they don't get extra time unless they would get called in and have to do extra work. So during holidays, there's not extra time. It's like working an 8-hour day. It's not double time or anything like that. And with emergency on call and someone always carrying that, there is accessibility to a town worker all times of day, no matter what day it is. And because we have several senior employees, we also have a lot of people that end up taking a couple of days off at the same time. And there are times where we don't have full staff. If we've got an employee that has left and moved on to a different company or they're on medical leave, there are times where we have one staff on duty and we function. And I've not ever heard any complaints that we do not have enough staff during that day. So I'm not sure that if you have a day once in a while with one staff, I'm not sure if that's an issue or not.
Yeah, I know that.
And to answer your questions on the emergencies, I guess what would be the difference in now if we're called in on a day off because of a storm or,
Well, like I understand if there's a storm on a weekend, but if there's a storm on a Thursday night and you need to come in and clean up debris on a Friday, right now, that's the regular work time.
correct, but there would still be 2 guys here to do it.
So we don't need any more than 2 employees?
Well, no, I mean, if we want to get technical, we're to the point where we're short-staffed now as far as summertime help because we have so much to mow and all that. And that's why we're grateful they give us a part-time helper. I just don't see where it's going to be a huge, and I could be wrong. I absolutely could be. I'm human. It might be a bad decision. I don't know. Trial and error.
But that's the way I look at it too, is the way he's explained it, and if it doesn't work, that can always be changed.
And I can agree with that. If it doesn't work out or it's causing a problem, we go back to,
Just go back to the way it was. That can always, that's not a problem to change it. The way that I look at it, they've asked for it and he's laid out a good line, and there'll always be some type of coverage short of a disaster or anything. just, well, when the cemetery went, all the stuff went through the cemetery and took all the flowers out and trees and all that. Sandy, even I was out there at the cemetery working, cleaning up the debris and the flowers. So, and the people that cleaned it, they volunteered and didn't cost us anything. They did all that for free, wasn't it? They donated their labor.
My thing is, if we do this all year, that's 40% of the workday in a year. Now we only have half the employees.
I don't understand where she's coming
My big
from.
three.
Well, I mean, county highway's been doing it for years.
I know that.
And
I know.
there's nobody who works 3 days a week, period.
And that's the same way we're looking at it too, Sandy, from the counties, the county departments, highway department, same way.
I find it hard to believe that the county highway department gets all their employees a 3-day weekend.
They work 4 10-hour days. They absolutely do.
Yeah, they do.
Absolutely.
They do.
They have
Yes.
for years.
How many employees do they have? I mean, do they just?
I don't know.
Two on Monday, 2 on Friday? That's my.
Oh, no, they got.
0 on Friday.
County's a lot bigger than Westport.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, does anybody know how many highway
Oh.
employees there is?
I don't know how many total, but nobody works on Friday, so
Yeah,
there's
I
no
mean,
split.
They don't split nothing. They're not trying to, make sure it's coverage fight. They work 4 10-hour
They
days.
just have
That's it.
on-call people for Friday.
That's why the
I need to say something.
Uh,
I've been on this council for 8 years. And when I first came here, we did not have a good clerk. We didn't have a wonderful person to do the streets here. It was all willy-nilly all the time, constantly. But none of you folks ever came to see who needs what. Now that we try to fix everything, everybody's coming raising Cain about it. So anyway, if it's not broken, what are we doing fighting about it?
But
What are we doing fighting? No, it's not broken. And I trust that this street superintendent is the best I've ever seen, and I've lived in this county my whole life. This is the very best clerk I've ever seen, and I have worked here for 8 years with different clerks. When I first come here, they couldn't even give you a budget. They didn't know how much money we had.
And Sandy,
Well,
No,
no,
I
but I
didn't.
think you need to understand, you need to talk to the people who work with this all the time.
well, we need to move on too.
Yes, we've got to move on. We've got lots
Sandy,
to do.
no, you were just voicing what you see as problems that could arise, and that's fine. We always want the input, but for my take, we'll try, and if it doesn't work, the town council can say, hey, this was an experiment, didn't work, and we'll change it back to the way that it was.
And so
Yeah.
to the new council that's here, if it doesn't work and you guys want to change back, I mean, it is what it is. I'll accept
That's
my
simple
mistake.
enough.
We'll correct it, we'll move on.
Perfect.
I don't, I'm not one to sit back and say, hey, I don't make no mistakes. I mean, I'm human, so
Okay.
Right.
if it's a bad decision, I'll be more than glad to change it back and go back to where we need to be. I mean,
That's fine, but make a long story short, when we got first on the town council, I wanted Damon and some of the other ones start thinking outside the box of trying it different ways instead of doing it the old way we've been doing it. And saying, okay, let's plan 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, 4 years down the road of what we think is going to happen. And as Damon, and I'll give him credit for this, we've got quite a bit done here in the town of Westport. And it's been a lot of Damon's help, and I've appreciated working with him these last 4 years. And we've had meetings, and I go over things with Damon all the time of how the things could be to try and improve. And as you said, Sandy, and I'll close with this, about the water company, about manning that, Damon has a proposal that I've asked him to work on, how could we cut down on some of the overtime to save the town money? But he's not ready to put that plan forward yet until he starts working out some of the things. Because what I was concerned about is if it's not approached in the town council the right way, it doesn't sound right. And, we want to get facts and figures all together on paper and say, this is what is what is proposed. And we've already, I've already talked to Damon about that. And we've discussed that, even though tonight's, our last night, but we're trying to think ahead on that. Because you're right, we need to figure out what's best for Westport. I agree. Okay. And last, on a lighter note, I'll give credit to our councilman-elect, Glenn Black. He talked to me about seniors, and I am one. Maybe it'd be a good idea if we exercised. So going along with that, I talked to some other people about it, and it seemed like that's a worthy plan, that Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here at the community building from the hours, I think we're thinking maybe from, well, I forget what it was, 9:30, no, at 10:30 maybe to 12. We'll have exercise programs for the senior citizens. Among those would be, and I talked to somebody that's a health coach, I want to get them in. Nutrition would be one, balance would be another. How for seniors can you do exercise? Chair exercises, sit in your chair and do that. But
No
okay,
powerlifting. No powerlifting.
no powerlifting, no heavy barbells or big weights or anything. But what I told them, because in past practices, nobody really wanted to take responsibility for that, so it kind of fell through the wayside. So I volunteered my wife. Her and I are going to be responsible. And I talked to, yeah, Bill. I'll walk. We'll walk. She wants to walk all the time.
According if the snow is real deep.
Yeah, but it'd be just January, February, and March, just through the three coldest months of the year. And this is just in the formulation stage. And I talked to Connie, and I didn't want her to be responsible for getting all this cleaned up and everything. So I'll take responsibility that this will be cleaned up. Everything will be cleaned up, lights will be turned off, and the door will be locked. And it's something the seniors need, and Glenn's the one that started the ball rolling, so I need to stay away from Glenn. He'll give me something else to do, but he, and I think it's a good idea. It's something we need to do in Westport for our seniors, and there's many that we know that need to get up, walking around, doing some exercise. And also, I talked to the person that would be willing to help. She said that also she does breathing exercises to get your breath right, going again, your breathing exercises. So I'm asking for approval from this town council.
I make a motion that we approve having a walking or a exercise room here.
A second?
When we can.
All in favor?
Aye.
And with that, I've been wanting to say this.
Public.
I've kept you enough time. I will entertain a motion. You got a second? We're done.
Yeah. I just want to say that thank you to the town.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was going to let you guys off the hook. Okay, public comment. I'll open it up. George, go ahead. This will be short and brief, right?
Beth, I don't have a problem with you moving it over there. If that's the
Yeah, just give her the, there you go. You can sit down, George.
George, you can sit down.
I don't think the camera will.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I say tonight, I come in peace. I just wanted to give a little background about the Can family. They've been here since 1838, and my great-grandfather immediately went into business here, and there were cans in business until 1906, but they hadn't reproduced very well, so they were thinned out for a while. And my great-grandfather was very active. He opened 2 subdivisions, the town of Westport, and my mother and I and my wife opened an addition to the town of Westport in 1968, second day of March. So it's, I believe, in its 56th year. And other newer generations like Chris Clarkson, who was my younger sister's son. He operated Market Basket for 30 years. And another nephew was Richard Hampton. He operated a lumber yard for years, and he worked in the parts store. He actually worked in that building from the time he was 16 years old. And he is the son of my oldest sister, Mary. So we've been around, and I've tried to do what I could do for Westport, and I think one of the first things that I did it was beneficial was the way I designed our new subdivision. I made it so that it was as much as possible connected to the older part of town. And one of the things that I didn't do was that I did not put any restriction whatever on the subdivision. I thought that actually I thought it happened just about what has happened. There are 5 good business buildings over there, and I was told at the courthouse that there's very little turnover in that subdivision. And I'm going to tell you about some other things that I did. In 1976, I wrote and published a history of Westport, and I I did 2 others after that. One in 1986, it's all right. One in 2015, and in 1985, I founded the Westport Business Association, and I served as its first president. And before the years was up, the Westport Town Council got word from Wheaton Industries that they were looking at Westport as a possible building site. So we all got busy, and Wheaton was interested. We took them around. I was in the real estate business at the time. I had several listings, and we showed them possible sites.
Sit down.
I'm okay. No, that's here.
No, I can lower it so you can sit.
Okay. Anyway, Wheaton was looking at 5 different locations, but they finally decided on Westport, and they gave us a big supper up at the Greensburg Daily News office, and they were after supper. They were just milling around through the building, and I found one of the officials off to himself, and I said to him, I know you were looking at 5 different locations, and I just wanted to know why you picked Westport. And he said, well, sir, he said, we just liked the way you did business. So that's one accomplishment that I'm very proud of. And I brought the Westports of the World organization to Westport in 1994. I had gone to Connecticut in 91 and made a proposal that they come to Westport in 94. They always planned 3 years ahead to make sure that they'd have a place to go. So the strange thing was that I was interviewed over in Connecticut by a person from the Republic in Columbus, which I thought was very strange. And it turned out that they printed my picture on the front page of the Republic. I guess that was my 15 minutes of fame. But anyway, they came here, and I was chairman of the program, and I asked Fred and Donna M. Ryan to help me co-chair it, which they did, and each of us received a community service award for our work well for that and what we'd done previously, I guess. And I want to point out too that Mrs. Brindley Joyce received the Community Service Report Award, and I don't remember the year, but she had done a lot of work, trying to keep Westport clean and pleasant to look at. She had flowers up and down Main Street for several years, and I saw her out there at times watering them, and Mr. Gatewood watered them sometimes. But I just wanted to mention that. I'll try to see where I picked up here again. My wife and I have had very serious health problems the last 11 years. She was in the hospital and nursing homes for 2 years, and she lost the use of her legs. She'll never be able to stand on them again. And for the first 5 years of she had 4 very serious operations. I didn't know if she'd be home or not, but we needed to find the amount of a certain bill for one of her doctors, and we asked the insurance company to send us the amount of the bill, and instead of that, they sent us a sheet that showed the amount that she had been charged for various services for the first 5 years, and it totaled $774,000. And we had good insurance, fortunately. And I've not been without my issues. I guess it was 9. Well, I go back. I have one stent in my heart, which has been there 23 years. And going back 9 years, I was diagnosed with atrial fibrillation. That's where your heart rhythm, where it gets out of rhythm, and I was lucky enough to get a pacemaker, so I've lived with that for 9 years. And in 2000, 2018, my appendix ruptured. I was away from home with that deal for 6 weeks. And the next year, I had sepsis. And two of the doctors told me I almost died. So I guess my wife and I are both lucky to still be alive. And of course, they tell me not to have stress. And I really had not much else for the last 11 years. I've managed it well, but you can't fool your body. And I pretty well take care of myself. I don't know how much longer I can do that, but I took care of her for a long time. But Beth and another lady that comes in twice a day is helping us now. But there are other things that we need to turn our attention to. And I have been working diligently on our buildings for the last 5 years. And I don't know, I guess it was 2021, why we started working on Beth's house out on where the farm is. And the town got involved with our project, which we thought they had the option to do it or not do it, but they did it. And her projects is pretty well along. She has yet to, she's been working with a person to put in the septic system. They had diagnosed it, thought they could maybe save the one that was there, and they just decided to put in a new tank and go from there. So Beth has the money for that, and the man, I guess, is coming as soon as he gets through with his previous job. And she also has contracted a carpenter to come and finish up what work needs to be done. And I want to comment on the project up at Rain Street. That property has been in the family, since 1852, and the original house is still there. It has had rooms added onto it on both sides, but the original house is still there, and it's 171 years old, and it's in remarkably good shape. So we're wanting to preserve that property, and we've put a lot of money into the project, and I personally value the property now, just the structure, not the land it's on, but the structure. I value it at $160,000. And Kenny from Area Plan came through in June, and he approved of the structure, and he issued us a permit to go ahead with the electric and the plumbing. And I thought that town, at that time, the town was out of it, and I guess not. But anyway, I'm not gonna be able, I'm gonna have to stay inside for the next 4 months, pretty much. And so what I came here for tonight was just, I want the town to release both of those projects to me and to Beth. In regards to Beth, there's been a couple of fines that were applied early on because some of our helpers did some burning that they didn't realize they were supposed to do. I had told them to take all the scrap and old shingle and stuff down to the local dump because it's just half mile from there. And someone evidently didn't get the word,
George,
so yes.
I hate to interrupt, but some of what you're describing and want done, that would be in the hands of the next town council. It's not a decision we're going to do this evening.
Well, I think that it'll be obvious to the people. So I think it's time that they release it, and I think they ought to cancel the court date.
But George, the thing is, like I've told you, you've read off a distinguished career that you've had here in Westport, and you've done quite a bit for the community. But as far as anything moving forward on both houses, that's not our, I don't know, preview is the right word. That's not within the scope of tonight's meeting. That will have to be decided by the next town council. The next town council, you can come before them and ask them what can be done. But as far as this town council is concerned, there's nothing we can do this evening or are going to vote on either, not in regards to the houses.
Well, I think I've demonstrated that I can start a project and I can complete it. And I think in the beginning, the town had a choice. They could have just continued and let me do what I was
George,
doing.
all the paperwork and all the questions and things will be the next town council will handle that, not us, not now. This is our last meeting this evening.
Okay.
That would be the job of the next town council. You and Beth can approach them and ask them about it, but it's not something that.
But other than a future update, this house doesn't have anything going on.
Yeah, you don't have any updates or anything, and it's.
No, I mean, Beth just has another update to do and.
Right.
Well,
you give them the updates and everything, Beth, like you gave us last time, but as far as this evening.
I've invited all three of you to come up and look at the premises. And
invite the next town council, George. As of the end of this month, we're out of it.
All right. Well, I've said what I had to say.
But talk to the next town council.
And George, I for one appreciate you're a great historian. You were a school teacher for me, and I'm 77 years old, but you were my school teacher when I was in St. Paul School. And you are a great historian, but things do go on. Things have to go on. We can't just let it sit. So I think that maybe the new council will be probably work with you as well as anybody. I appreciate it. I appreciate you.
Dolores. Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
4 years went by in a blur.
8 years went by.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you, everybody.
Anybody else?
Anybody else? Anything? Oh, good. I mean, I get to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and to all a good night.
Yep. Merry Christmas.
Thank you for coming.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'll pay right.